He's a star, but a lot of times people say, well, this is going to be easy for him, and then they forget to vote. They don't go out to vote. You got to get out and vote, but you got to help him financially because you're all people that have a lot of money. I know 20 of you, and you're rich as hell. So anything you are going to do, quadruple it. It doesn't mean it's just, I hope you can back him and write checks for him and do everything. And then we're going to close the border. We're going to give you tax cuts. We're going to pay off our debt.
While the media has effortlessly covered Trump's recent disgusting and unhinged comments about undocumented immigrants poisoning the blood of our country, fascinating that they haven't really done much coverage of what you just saw. Because over the same weekend, Donald Trump promised wealthy individuals at a wealthy fundraiser that should he get reelected for a second term, he will in fact further cut taxes for the rich. Interesting how that didn't get any attention at all. And honestly, there's good reason to believe that if he does get elected again, he will in fact cut taxes on the rich, because that is one of the few things he did accomplish in his first term. Now, there's very little information available at the moment in regard to the event that Trump was speaking at. Here's what we do know though. The video that we showed you was posted on a Facebook page on December 12th by a user named Robert Ward. Based on Trump's comments, the event appeared to be a fundraiser for North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, who is in fact running for governor. Now, Trump praised Robinson and asked the audience to contribute to his race. Robinson also gave a speech at the event. Now, National Review reporter Audrey Fahlberg obtained an invitation for the event, and everyone there was probably very wealthy. Just to attend, you'd have to pay $1,000 just to be a guest, to be a sponsor, $6,400 to be a host committee member, I guess, $12,800. And Trump isn't just making those promises at fancy private events. This weekend, he also held a rally in New Hampshire. Let's take a look at what he had to say there.
Here is my pledge to every New Hampshire family. I will never let the Trump tax cuts, and they are the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, I will never let them be taken away from you. And with your vote in this election, we will cut your taxes even further. That's what built our economy.
Now, you see all these people behind him cheering because they think that they're gonna benefit from tax cuts, but the 2017 tax cuts overwhelmingly benefited top earners and corporations. There have been multiple analyses done on this, and I'll share some of the details with you in just a moment. But first, Cenk, thoughts on the media's silence on the tax issue?
Yeah, well, that's so. Look, in his first term, there was a lot of establishment people like Gary Cohn, who was at Goldman Sachs, came over to Treasury and helped Donald Trump cut taxes for the rich and corporate taxes, and they cut it from 35% to 21%. It was the biggest corporate tax cut in American history. So the reason the Gary Cohns of the world and this Steve Mnuchin, obviously the Treasury Secretary, and then Gary Cohn was the top economic policy advisor for Trump. The reason they were all there was because they're like, oh, this is great. This guy has no brakes in the car. We can cut taxes so much, brutalize the average American, and do giant class warfare and move all the money up to the rich and to corporations. And they did it. That was the one thing that he passed that was historic and had a massive impact. He barely built any wall, but he did that. This time around, he has one specific policy issue that he has pitched, and that is cutting corporate taxes to 15%.
It's insane.
Okay, so eventually he's gonna cut them to zero or maybe negative numbers. So we have to all take money out and give it to corporations, which by the way, already happens. That's called subsidies, right? And he's never attacked the subsidies. They're like, the oil companies are swimming in money, and we give them $20 billion every single year.
Corporate welfare.
From our money. Why? What happened to America first? What happened to looking out for the average American? What happened to populists? No, behind closed doors, they always tell you what they actually think because they're talking to their best friends, the donors. When Biden did it in 2020, he said nothing will fundamentally change. And that was the most true thing that Biden has ever said. His main goal was status quo. I don't want to change anything. I love the way that the people at the top should stay at the top. And he was telling people that were at the top and they loved it. And they funded his campaign tremendously. Now Trump is talking behind closed doors to incredibly rich donors and he's telling them, don't worry, you give us money we give you tax cuts. How's this not just organized bribery? And what happened to draining the swamp? But yet, to Anna's point, almost no press coverage. Why? Because corporate media loves corporate tax cuts. Remember, literally all those companies, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, etc., are part of giant multi-billion-dollar corporations. And if Trump wins, their tax rate goes down from 21 to 15. So you think the executives that hire people at those companies are going to be like, no, go attack Trump for trying to lower our taxes? No way. They love that part. So that's the real Donald Trump. That's the real corporate media. And that's how we all get screwed.
So I just wanted to give you guys what I promised. We've talked about this issue so many times, but just as a refresher, the 2017 tax cuts overwhelmingly benefited the rich. The working class did not benefit to the same extent, not even close. So the centerpiece of that 2017 tax law was a deep, permanent cut in the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. The Tax Policy Center estimates that over a third of the benefits from corporate rate cuts flows to the top 1% of households. Read Why Nations Fail. This is contributing to the growing inequality in the country, and that growing inequality will lead to the fall of this country, I have no doubt. Now, a careful new study from researchers at the University of California, Berkeley, the Federal Reserve Board, and the Joint Committee on Taxation finds that none of the earnings gains from the 2017 corporate rate cuts occurred to the bottom 90% of the income distribution, and this group received just a small fraction of the overall economic gains. In fact, when it comes to non-corporations, when it comes to individual earners, well, it turns out that only high income earners got a massive tax cut thanks to this 2017 tax bill. The law cut the top individual income tax rate from 39.6% to 37% for married couples with over $600,000 in taxable income. By itself, this provided a couple with $2 million in taxable income a $36,400 tax cut.
Because they really needed that, but you didn't need that money at all. Like if you have student debt and they're like, oh, what are we supposed to do? Cut like tens of thousands of dollars of your student debt? No way, we don't have the money for that. But if you're making $2 million a year, oh, here, take another $36,400. That we have plenty of money for that. He ran on Drain the Swamp, guys. And all he did was deliver for the rich and screw you over more. And it's all of these corporate donations, these donations from super wealthy, etc. It's just a way to buy votes, okay? You give me money, you bribe me through campaign contributions, and then I give you giant tax breaks. I mean, those guys that made $36,400, giving $3,300 to Trump, to this guy, etc. It's a bargain. You're gonna have plenty of money left over because of the laws that they pass on your behalf. Meanwhile, who's fighting for the average American? No one. So last thing, Biden said, oh, he brought it down to 21, from 35 to 21. When I get back in, I'm gonna bring it back up to 28. It was at 35. What do you mean bring it back up to 28? And then Joe Manchin said, no, I won't go $1 above 25. And then Biden was like, okay, fine, 25%. And then did they actually do that? Nope, Biden didn't do anything. Didn't do anything. So it's now still at 21%. And he's going, oh golly gee, I couldn't get that one through. So all my rich donors are super happy about it. Oops, I guess I just couldn't get past the filibuster, wink. These guys all do the same goddamn thing, rob us blind every time.